Inspirational Rhema devotion with the message titled, No One Can Stop God from Blessing You. God blessed a man in the Bible named Jacob. Jacob's blessing wasn't deserved or earned. On the contrary, Jacob lied and deceived his own family, a sinner. When he was born, he tried to pull and get ahead of his twin. So his parents named him Jacob, meaning a supplanter or deceiver. In addition, Jacob stole his big brother's birthright and inheritance, something that rightfully belonged to Esau. Then Jacob had to flee his home because of the pain and anger he caused his brother. Why did God bless Jacob? God knew ahead of time that Jacob would make these choices, yet God chose Jacob over Esau. For the building of his nation and the Messianic bloodline. For one, Jacob was a descendant of Abraham, so he qualified for covenant blessing. But two, I believe God chose Jacob to display his plan of redemption through this imperfect person. God delights in mercy, and Jacob is one example of the mercy of God. The Hebrew meaning of the word bless carries the idea of kneeling, as when we bless God, we kneel or submit ourselves to his authority with an adoration, a love, a respect for our Creator, our Father. Submission does not mean someone isn't strong. It means that person will yield their strength to their authority. For example, did Jacob let go of the angel God sent to Jacob? No, he wrestled that angel, refusing to let go. He did it in faith, with a desperate reliance that didn't put stock in his own ability. He was tenaciously after God's blessing. As a result, the angel put Jacob's hip out of joint, and Jacob carried a limp. Jacob walked in God's favor, not in his strength, but in God's strength. What an illustration of reliant, obedient faith. Jacob didn't deserve God's blessing, but he got it. When the word bless is used toward a person, it also carries the idea of love, a love that is gracious as from a father to a child. In God's goodness, he benefits his children. He increases and gives favor to those who come to him with a faith-reliant posture, like a dependent child. Jacob reaped what he sowed. His mother sent him to Uncle Laban, her brother, to escape the wrath of Esau, also to marry well. And it was there that Laban deceived Jacob. Jacob loved Rachel, his cousin, so he made a deal with Laban to work for 7 years for her hand in marriage. Then on his wedding night, he realized Laban had switched Rachel for her sister, Leah. He had to work another 7 years to marry Rachel, his true love. However, from these two women and their mates, the nation of Israel was built. God can work his plan even through our dysfunctional families. That's good news. Laban deceived Jacob again. He changed his wages 10 times, controlling Jacob and keeping him under his roof, and keeping his daughters and grandchildren at home. In addition, Laban knew he was financially increased because of the work Jacob did for him, and he didn't want to lose that either. However, God was calling Jacob out from underneath Laban's rule. God had a plan, not only for Jacob, but for the entire nation of Israel. And as a sign of redemption for all the world, God had a plan. Jacob offered to work for Laban to earn money to obey the leading of God and launch out on his own. Laban did not want Jacob to leave, and Jacob needed to increase before it was time to leave. Jacob asked for livestock that were speckled and spotted and brown, while Laban kept the solid color. Jacob cared for all the sheep, but God blessed Jacob. It was God's doing. Jacob placed marked branches where the animals came to drink. Branches that the sheep seemed to learn was a place for breeding. Jacob also used the rods to separate the stronger sheep, causing his sheep to become stronger than Laban's. While Jacob was intentionally breeding the animals, he could not make them spotted. Only God could do that. Jacob had faith that God would bless him so that he could return to his family land. God did bless Jacob more than Laban, allowing for Jacob to launch out on his own. Some believe God genetically modified this sheep into a breed that still exists today. Jacob left Laban and God began to position his family for the next step in his plan for the nation. Here are some takeaway truths. Number one, whatever we are called to do in ministry or in business, we are called to serve God, not ourselves. God has a plan for our lives. Number two, we are not called to be self-sufficient, but to submit to God and live by faith. Number three, blessing God precedes getting blessed by God. Number four, what is perceived as success or failure could just be part of God's plan to reveal himself and his redemption through us. And lastly, number five, nothing on this planet is too hard for our God. Nothing can stop him. Let the world see God's glory play out through our lives. Let the world see God's glory play out through our lives. So with this, I've come to the end of today's inspirational Rhema devotion with the message titled, No One Can Stop God from Blessing You. Amen.